So I have this stool that I made a little bit ago. I just haven't gotten to putting finish on the face of it. So I'm just gonna put a lacquer finish on this. I think it's gonna look really nice. Lacquer is pretty durable, so I have it in this little convenient bottle where I can just put it on like that. And then I have a rag that I'm just gonna wipe it in with. I'm doing this outside just because this will really have a lot of fumes to it. And I'm gonna have to add a little bit more lacquer than I normally would, say on different projects, just because this is end grain and end grain will really soak it up. So I'm gonna put it on the rag. Maybe you don't want to drizzle it on. I can see the lines. I'll be able to get those out, I think, but wow, that really looks cool. You can see the spalting there. This is just a cross section of a log that I got off the property. I think it is really, really cool. It was sitting for about a year or less, and then I cut it and let it dry, and this log has some cool grain pattern to it. The spalting really is cool. There's a few different ways to apply finish onto projects. I think a very common way to apply lacquer is with a spray gun. And the way I'm just applying it now is just with a rag. I'm just wiping it on and slowly building it up. And I like the rag, it leaves a nice satin finish. See, I'm just wiping it on and then trying to wipe as much of it off as I can, just so you get like a perfect satin finish. It leaves a really nice finish. It's very even. Really what I should have done whenever I started, I shouldn't have put it right onto the log itself. I should have put it onto the rag first and then go to wipe it on, because you can see whenever I did that, it just soaked in straight away, and then whenever I kept finishing, that's sealed into the wood now, so no matter how much finish I put on here, that's gonna stay there because there's a layer over it. If I do that now, it doesn't do anything just because there's already a lacquer seal over the wood. So definitely put it on your rag first so you don't put that pattern on the wood. That's okay, it's just kind of a stool upstairs in the house, but kind of just something I learn every time I do something. I'll just take some lacquer and put a little bit in those pits there, let it soak in, and then just wipe it out. We don't want it pooling up in there, but it's important that we get it in there just so it protects the wood. I have this finished with 400 grit sandpaper, so it's a pretty fine finish. You can go higher. I just was tired of sanding, so I just did a good 400 grit finish. I don't see any sanding marks on the surface. Now what I did do is I took a orbital sander with 400 grit on it, which does produce a little bit of a finer finish just because of the dual action to it. So if it's 400 grit, it's gonna be more like a 600 grit finish. But this turned out really nice. I don't see any marks. And that lacquer sure is looking good on the wood. I really like the pattern. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put finish on the sides here. Just gotta make sure we get coverage everywhere. So you can tell this is starting to look really nice. I'm just wiping the lacquer on the side and then, just trying to wipe as much of that off as I can. And I'm just slowly building those layers up. And it's giving it a really nice satin finish, which is definitely one of my favorite finishes. With this method, you'll never really get any swirls in your finish, just because when you apply that on, you're just wiping it all off, kind of. And it really gives just a perfect finish. It's really controlled with the rag. And, I mean, you don't need any special tools to put this on. It's very simple and easy. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start putting it on the base of the stool. It's just some oak down there. It really is some nice oak, and I think it'll match the light color of the top wood here. So I have all the finish laid on this stool. It's all pretty dry now, and it's looking really good. I'm happy with how this is looking. The marks up here have lessened a little bit. They're still there. I guess I've learned what not to do next time, but I mean, this is definitely looking really good. It has a very nice satin finish. It's very smooth. If I just take a cotton cloth that's clean, once everything is really dry, I'm just gonna take this and run that over just to kind of make sure everything is perfect. And this is just looking great. I'm really happy with how the oak matches the wood that's up here. I'm just definitely really happy with how the finish turned out. It is some nice oak down there, and I mean, this is a cool stool with the live edge cross section of this tree.